All right, we're about to dive into one of the biggest, oldest, most mind-bending questions ever. It's something that touches on, well, everything about who we are. The question itself sounds simple, but the answer, not so much. It's this: is your free will actually real?
Let me put it another way for you. Are you really the main character, making conscious choices that shape your destiny? Or are you kind of like an NPC, a non-player character in your own life story, just following a pre-written script? It's a pretty wild thought, and the arguments for it are, surprisingly convincing.
So first, we've got to look at the case against free will, and it comes from a pretty heavy hitter: physics. This whole argument suggests that not only are your choices an illusion, but the entire universe has basically been running on autopilot since day one.
The big word for this idea is determinism. And what it really means is that every single thing that happens, from a tiny particle zipping through space to you deciding to watch this right now, is the unavoidable result of whatever happened right before it. It paints a picture of a universe that's just a long chain of cause and effect, with literally no room for a truly independent choice.
Think about it like a colossal cosmic row of dominoes. The first domino was the Big Bang. That event set up all the initial conditions and all the laws of physics, and from that exact moment, every single atom has been following those laws perfectly, without exception. If you follow that chain of dominoes all the way to today, the conclusion is kind of inescapable. Every single thing that's happening now was pretty much baked into the cake right at the very beginning.
I mean, the implication here is just staggering. If you had a supercomputer powerful enough to know the location and speed of every particle just after the Big Bang, you could, in theory, predict everything that would ever happen in the future, right down to this exact moment. So in this view, that feeling of free will, it's just a feeling. The reality is you're on autopilot.
But that just feels wrong, doesn't it? Everything in our experience, our inner monologue, it all screams that we are the ones in charge. So let's flip the coin and look at the counter-argument. This is the search for the ghost in the machine, some kind of freedom inside this seemingly clockwork universe.
Now, you might be thinking, aha, what about quantum mechanics, right? Because at the tiniest subatomic level, the universe is all about probabilities and randomness, not certainty. But does random chaos equal free will? Well, most philosophers would say, no, that just swaps a predictable machine for a totally random one. The real counter-argument isn't about randomness at all. It's actually about complexity. And we can start with a really simple but honestly brilliant analogy. Think about water. A single molecule of H2O isn't wet. That's not a property it has. Wetness is something that only shows up when you get billions and billions of them all interacting together. A wave has properties, a crest, a trough, a direction, that no single water molecule could ever have on its own. The whole thing is so much greater than the sum of its parts. This amazing principle is called emergence. It's this idea that when you take a bunch of simple parts and organize them into a complex system, brand new properties can just appear. Properties you'd never, ever be able to predict by just looking at the individual pieces. And this brings us right to the human mind.
Think about it. A single neuron isn't conscious. It doesn't have thoughts or feelings, but you arrange 86 billion of them in just the right way inside a human brain, and suddenly, boom, consciousness emerges. So the argument here is that free will could be exactly like that. It might be an emergent property of our brain's insane complexity. It's something real, something that exists on the level of the mind, even if you can't find it in any one neuron or atom.
Okay, so now we've got these two really powerful competing ideas. On one hand, the clockwork universe. On the other, this ghost that emerges from the machine. And since science can't give us the final answer just yet, let's ask a totally different question. What happens if we believe one over the other? What are the consequences? So let's just put these two views of you right next to each other. The clockwork universe view says you're basically just one link in a massive predetermined chain. But the ghost in the machine view says no. You're a complex system that creates something genuinely new in the universe, a choice.
So, which one is it? You know, the honest answer is we don't know for sure. The science and the philosophy are a long way from being settled. But this leads to a much more practical question. What if determinism is right? What if free will really is just an illusion? If so, why does it feel so real? And what would happen if we all just stopped believing in it?
And the stakes here could not be higher. Seriously.
because our entire society is basically built on the assumption that free will is real. I mean, think about it. Moral responsibility, our whole justice system, that feeling of pride you get from an achievement, even the meaning behind love and relationships. It all depends on the core belief that we are the ones making our choices.
And this brings us to a really powerful final thought. Whether it's actually real or not, the belief in free will might be absolutely essential. It's like the operating system for human civilization. Maybe it's an illusion, but it could be an illusion that we literally cannot live without. So, we're going to end by turning this question right back to you. If your sense of self, that feeling of being in control, if it's all just a story that your brain is telling itself, then what does that make you? And maybe more importantly, does it even matter as long as you believe that you're the one holding the pen?